Good morning, New Life. My name is Ann Imboden, and most of you know me as Pastor Zach's wife, and I have the privilege of sharing today's devotional with you. So the passage I have for you today is Matthew 26:57 through 68. It's when Jesus stands before the Sanhedrin. That's basically just a fancy word for a council or an assembly of elders. So if you have your Bibles, I would invite you to open it with me. We're going to start with Matthew 26, verse 57. It says, "Those who had arrested Jesus took him to Caiaphas, the high priest, where the teachers of the law and the elders had assembled. But Peter followed him at a distance, right up to the courtyard of the high priest. He entered and sat down with the guards to see the outcome. The chief priests and the whole Sanhedrin were looking for false evidence against Jesus so that they could put him to death. But they did not find any, though many false witnesses came forward. Finally, two came forward and declared, 'This fellow said, I am able to destroy the temple of God and rebuild it in 3 days.' Then the high priest stood up and said to Jesus, 'Are you not going to answer? What is this testimony that these men are bringing against you?' But Jesus remained silent. The high priest said to him, 'I charge you under oath by the living God, tell us if you are the Messiah, the Son of God.' 'You have said so,' Jesus replied, 'but I say to all of you, from now on you will see the Son of Man sitting at the right hand of the Mighty One and coming on the clouds of heaven.' Then the high priest tore his clothes and said, 'He has spoken blasphemy. Why do we need any more witnesses? Look, now you have heard the blasphemy. What do you think?' 'He is worthy of death,' they answered. Then they spit in his face and struck him with their fists. Others slapped him and said, 'Prophesy to us, Messiah. Who hit you?' So it's important to remember that Jewish law required that at least 2 or 3 witnesses testify when accusing someone of sin. It's pretty ironic that the leaders in the Sanhedrin were willing to stick to the letter of the law, even as they conspired to convict an innocent and harmless man on trumped-up charges. Jesus' trial was a sham. It was unjustified and it was unfair. Jesus knew this, of course, and yet he handed himself over to them. He didn't struggle against his accusers or mount a defense for himself. Why? Why did he do this? As he said during his arrest, he could have called on angels, legions of them, to come to his aid. But as he stood there before the Sanhedrin, unsupported and alone, remember in verse 56, just before this story, it tells us that all the disciples deserted him and fled. He was motivated by one thing: love. Profound, overwhelming love. Love for even those who spat in his face, those who struck him, those who mocked him. Love. May we be humbled by Jesus' courage and touched by his love, and may we have a measure of his love today. Be blessed, New Life. I miss you all.